According to NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, it made no sense for the league to disregard social concerns that are important to its players. The NBA's recognition of the Black Lives Matter movement is a major illustration of the league's continuous balancing act with social concerns. He said, "In today's video, we'll be discussing the NBA's efforts to remain politically correct in recent times and other NBA news. Stay tuned." So, what has Adam Silver said? Highlighting the uncertain events of mid-2020, Silver demonstrated how the NBA must balance what is occurring in society with their core business of conducting one of the world's largest sports championships. Speaking at the Sport NXT conference in Melbourne, he said that it doesn't make sense for them to demarcate explicitly whether they'll always be political or they won't discuss political matters at all. The reason for this, according to him, is that the players that make up the NBA are part of that society and having feelings, and nearly 80% of them are black. So there will always be some societal matters revolving around social morality that they will feel more connected to and affected by than some other matters facing the world elsewhere. He said that this is a very tiring process and that one needs to listen to everyone and then try to figure out a way forward. Weeks before the resumption of the league, George Floyd's death had fueled the Black Lives Matter movement and sparked huge anti-racism rallies. Hence, midway through 2020, when the NBA season resumed under the backdrop of COVID-19 pandemic isolation, the players were outspoken about their support for the Black Lives Matter movement. Silver said that it is a difficult balancing act, made all more complicated because of what society at large is dealing with. Some players, even during the pandemic, felt it was their responsibility to come out to protest, and hence, it was only fitting that they displayed the message of Black Lives Matter at the very center of the court. There were players who wanted to represent their political views on their jerseys. Views that were not limited to Black Lives Matter, but other pressing issues at the time as well. According to him, it was very delicate to negotiate with the players to decide what message was appropriate enough to be represented, and they reached a middle ground with the Players Association, agreeing to terms that would be mutually acceptable to both the players and the league. The Players Association and the NBA recognized that representation could not be afforded to any and all political messages, and only those that were appropriate at the time. They agreed to have the Black Lives Matter message at the center of the court till the end of the 2020 season. And with the 2021 season, they had reverted back to the old style because that is what made the most sense to them. Next, NBA and BLM in 2020. As the NBA returned for the first time since the coronavirus suspended play in March 2021, teams lowered their heads and took a knee during the singing of the United States national anthem while wearing Black Lives Matter t-shirts. In the first games in 140 days, coaches and officials joined players from the Utah Jazz, New Orleans Pelicans, Los Angeles Lakers, and Los Angeles Clippers in taking a knee to protest racial injustice and police violence. Black Lives Matter was also stenciled on the courts of the ESPN Wide World of Sports complex at the Walt Disney World Resort outside Orlando, where the NBA intended to conclude the season with 22 teams enclosed in a biosecure bubble. LeBron James of the Lakers, speaking after hitting the game-winning shot over the Clippers, said that basketball has always been a game bigger than just the ball or the rim, or even the 10 guys on the court. It is an opportunity. It is a platform to spread love and positivity throughout the world. James said that the important thing was to keep up the momentum, despite the progress they had made in the struggle against systemic racism. Dealing with so much racism and social injustice in the form of police brutality everywhere, he said that the momentum was vital because other people of color were being made victims of this injustice as well. In place of their names, several players' shirts bore slogans such as equality, education reform, and say their names. Athletes from all over the globe had rallied in support of anti-racism demonstrations started after the murder in May of George Floyd, a black man in police custody in Minneapolis. Now in other NBA news, LeBron to miss the rest of the season. The Lakers confirmed on Friday that LeBron James' season has come to an end. With a sprained left ankle, the superstar will miss Los Angeles' last two games of the 2021-2022 season. The Lakers made the news before the game against the Oklahoma City Thunder on Friday. Los Angeles' miserable season comes to an end on Sunday against Denver. With James out, he will almost definitely miss out on his second NBA scoring crown. The 37-year-old James averaged 30.3 points per game this season, despite participating in only 56 games, falling 2 points short of qualifying for the scoring championship with his full points per game average. Since spraining his ankle on March 27th, the NBA's second leading scorer has only played in one game, scoring 38 points in a heartbreaking 114-111 home defeat to New Orleans on April 1st. Next, Joel Embiid makes history. For most NBA players, 41 points while shooting 14 of 17 is a career night, and yet it's simply another night at the office for Joel Embiid this season. Now that LeBron James will miss the rest of the Lakers season and will be ineligible for the scoring championship, Embiid has all but sealed up the accolade. If he sits out on Sunday's game against Detroit Pistons, Giannis Antetokounmpo would need 77 points to pass him. Antetokounmpo would need 47 points if he didn't play, but if he did, he could surely raise the bar even higher. Embiid created offensive history on Saturday in addition to winning the scoring crown. Even if he does not play and does not score on Sunday, he will finish the season with a season average of more than 30 points. This marks the first time in 40 years that a center has averaged 30 points per game in a season. David Robinson, 29.8 in 1994, Shaquille O'Neal, 29.7 in 2000, and Patrick Ewing, 28.6 in 1990, all came close. But no one has surpassed Moses Malone since 1982. The 76ers are now seeded fourth in the Eastern Conference Conference, which is hardly an ideal starting place for a championship run. Throughout it all, however, Embiid has remained a constant. Before Harden came, he kept the team afloat. Even after that, he continued to lead them. He is enjoying one of the best defensive seasons by a big man in NBA history, and that season will be remembered for the rest of his career. Next, Doncic's 16th technical foul rescinded. After all, the Dallas Mavericks will be without their finest player for their last regular season game against the San Antonio Spurs on Sunday. The league overturned All-Star guard Luka Doncic's 16th technical foul of the season against the Portland Trail Blazers on Friday night, which means Doncic will not be penalized for exceeding the regular season limit. Doncic was slapped for a technical foul at the conclusion of the first quarter against the Blazers after expressing disappointment that a foul was not called on his heave attempt at the end of the period. During the effort, Doncic felt as if Portland guard Leauge made touch with him. The fact that Doncic will be able to play against the Spurs on Sunday is a significant lift for the Mavericks, since the outcome will determine whether they finish third or fourth in the Western Conference heading into playoff play. Even better news for Dallas is that the technical foul constant resets at the end of the regular season, so each player enters the playoffs with a clean slate. To receive a one-game ban, a player must commit 7 technical fouls in the same postseason. Next up, 5-time NBA All-Star Gene Shue dies at 90. Gene Shue, a 2-time NBA Coach of the Year who led the Bullets, 76ers, and Clippers to 784 victories, has died. He was 90 years old. Shue was a 5-time All-Star with the Pistons as a player and went on to coach for more than 2 decades. In 1971, he led the Baltimore Bullets to the NBA Finals, and in 1977, he led the Philadelphia 76ers to the same feat. With 522 victories, he holds the franchise record for Washington-Baltimore. Shue's death was revealed by the Wizards and the NBA on Monday. Shue played collegiately at Maryland, where he was selected the outstanding player in the Southern Conference Tournament in 1953, and went on to earn an All-ACC accolades the following year after the Terrapins joined the ACC. The Philadelphia Warriors selected him with the 3rd overall choice in the 1954 draft. His 5 All-Star selections came as a member of the Detroit Pistons, and he played in the NBA for a decade before moving on to coaching. He took over the Bullets in 1966 and was voted Coach of the Year in 1968 and 1969 after leading the club to a 57-25 record. Baltimore reached the finals in 1971 before failing to Milwaukee. Shue became a University of Maryland Hall of Famer in 1991. That's a wrap for this video. Will we see the NBA continue to support political activism in the years to come? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.